to date, none of us have actually seen this secret report delivered by the three cardinals to Benedict XVI, so it's impossible to say precisely what it contains. On the other hand, the core claim of this story, that the cardinals looked into the possibility that there might be a network of gay clergy inside the Vatican who were vulnerable to pressure, to me, that passes the smell test. I mean, we know back in 2007 that there was a Vatican Monsignor who was caught on a hidden camera by an Italian TV network bringing a date back to his Vatican apartment. We know in 2010 there was a gentleman of the Pope, one of these ceremonial positions held by Italian VIPs, who was caught on a wiretap trying to arrange a kind of sexual liaison with a Nigerian member of a Vatican choir. So, I mean, we know that and these things were all public. They were massively embarrassing. So, frankly, to me, it would be a little surprising if the cardinals who did this investigation, which was supposed to be complete and thorough, didn't at least consider that possibility.
It nonetheless would be entirely shocking to millions of the faithful if it's possible that it was true. Is it possible that that's really why, as La Repubblica alleges, the Pope resigned?
Well, look, Jonathan, I mean, I haven't talked to Benedict XVI about this, so I'm doing the same armchair psychology as the rest of the world. But my reading would be that, for the most part, I think you have to take the Pope at his word when he said the reason he's resigning is because he's old and he's tired. But on the other hand, I don't think you can completely disconnect that from the cumulative effect of the scandals we have seen over the last 8 years, because it's not just this latest thing. I mean, it's also the child sex abuse scandals, the Vatican leaks scandals, and many other episodes. I think the cumulative effect of all that has been wearying for Benedict XVI. I mean, you know, he sees himself as a teaching pope who wants to conduct this kind of global graduate seminar on the relationship between reason and faith, and instead, quite often, he's spent the last 8 years trying to put out internal fires. And so if you want to ask, why is he tired, I think that is inevitably part of the picture.
Now, what's also extraordinary about this is not just the allegations that have been in the media, but the Vatican's response, which seems very emphatic and direct. They are alleging that someone is trying to influence the outcome of the conclave. Does that make sense? I mean, it's extraordinary. That's coming from the Vatican itself.
Well, first of all, Jonathan, I would say that it doesn't make a lot of sense just on a PR level. I mean, if the Vatican was hoping this story was going to fade from view, this certainly isn't the right way to promote that. Instead, by pointing fingers and suggesting there's a sort of vast global conspiracy to control the selection of the next pope, they have ensured that this story is going to stay alive. I mean, frankly, you know, I think most people would look at that statement and say, it may well be that there was a kind of over-the-top dose of speculation, and certainly some of the language in that La Repubblica piece was sort of melodramatic, and perhaps it would be fair to point that out. On the other hand, I think the common sense reaction would be that if the Vatican wants conspiracy theories and speculation to go away, then the best antidote is transparency. Release this supposedly secret report and let the world know what was going on.
Even so, we come back to this statement. I mean, is the Vatican in the habit of making wild allegations about mysterious conspiracies, the kinds of things people allege go on inside the Vatican? Is the Vatican in the habit of saying that about unknown forces outside the Vatican and putting those allegations out on official statements on official stationery?
No, this is extraordinary, Jonathan. I mean, typically the Vatican's response to media criticism is a sort of terse no comment. If they say anything at all, it's usually couched in very careful diplomatic formula. So the strength of the language here is unusual. The other thing worth noting is that normally when the Vatican responds to media reports, it comes from the Vatican press office. In this case, the statement was issued by the Secretariat of State, which is the Vatican's most important coordinating agency. It's led by the figure that is traditionally seen as kind of the prime minister of the Vatican itself. So they not only ratcheted up the rhetorical volume, they also ratcheted up the level of authority, and that's all what makes this sort of, you know, lashing back at the media and lashing back at figures that they believe are trying to control the outcome of this process, just frankly quite extraordinary.